In a month, my mother is going to be 103 years old. My grandmother, my mother's mother, lived to be 104. And when I tell people this, I invariably get the same response from them. Oh, you have great genes. You're probably going to live to be have a long, long life. And what I say to them, not out of arrogance, but because of the things I've learned, is this. If my mother and all of the female relatives in my life, in my personal life, had died at the age of 35 of breast cancer or some other ailment, I still know that I can live as long as I choose. Because it's about belief. It's what you believe is what you create. Now, it was an advantage to have relatives who lived to have old age in that way, because early on in my life, I got the message that, and the belief that, living to a very old age was possible. I am going to focus today on longevity, good health, and wisdom, because longevity by itself is not enough. So today it's longevity, good health, and wisdom. The name of this show is Living Wisdom, and I'm Patty Paul. Getting back to my mother and her upcoming birthday, 103 years old, when people hear about that, they also say to me, wow, isn't that wonderful? As though living to an old age like 103 or 4 is in itself a great accomplishment, as though staving off death is some great achievement. So we need to look at that, because the quality of life is important. Living to be 100 or 103 or any age, when you're blind and when you're deaf and when you can't remember from one moment to the next what's being said, when you feel so isolated and cut off from other people, that is not a beautiful existence. That's not a fulfilling existence. So it's important to understand that the quality of life at any age is just as important as the life itself. So getting back to the subject of longevity, each of us creates our own reality, including our physical health, based on beliefs and attitudes, thoughts and feelings, choices and decisions that we make. Those are the raw materials that each one of us have. And we have a different set of beliefs for any situation. Focusing just on this idea of longevity, this idea of health, whatever beliefs and attitudes you've accumulated over your life and the many lives that you've had in the past, those will be part of the raw materials out of which you create the length of your life and your physical health. So if you subscribe and believe what the consensus believes, the majority of people believe, that, oh yes, it's flu season, therefore I will catch the flu unless I take certain kinds of medicine, or unless I get a shot, or unless I go see the doctor, or unless I hide from the world to avoid all those nasty germs. That's a belief. That's an attitude that concerns your health, and it's that kind of belief system and attitude that will produce your physical health. In my situation, getting back to the longevity that was demonstrated by my grandmother and my mother, early on in my life, as a very small child, I got the message, because of the beliefs that they held, that I could live to be old, and also that I could be very healthy, that I didn't have to get sick just because colds were going around or the mumps were going around or whatever was the common situation in the world. My grandmother was born in Germany, and back in those days, she was born in 1868, as a matter of fact. Homeopathic medicine was the main source of treatment, the main source of medicine that was available in Europe. And so when my grandmother immigrated at the age of 8 years old with her family to this country, she continued for her entire life to see only homeopathic doctors and to take only homeopathic medicine. Now, I'm not prescribing that for everyone, but what I'm saying is because that was part of her belief system, it was what worked for her. Likewise, for my mother, who always had a fear of medical doctors and a fear of taking medicine, she, in that way, empowered herself to remain healthy. Again, if one has already been raised with these other beliefs that are shared by the consensus, by the majority of people, that you have to go to the drugstore and take medicine to prevent things, or you have to get a certain kind of treatment in order to be healed, then you can't just switch that off and try something new. There is a way of changing beliefs and attitudes, but it requires some doing, and it involves working with your subconscious mind, and you can do that in meditation, guided meditation, or in hypnosis, that kind of therapy. Whether you find books that can help you do that for yourself, or you find some other person who can help you, that's a way of changing these deep-set beliefs and attitudes. A few years ago, I had in mind to write a book on longevity, and so as part of the research for that, I was doing speaking engagements at a number of upscale retirement homes in the area of Southern California. And as part of my visit to each of these retirement places, I would interview some of the older residents, the ones over 90 years of age. And I did this back in about 1991, so some years have gone by since then. But I'll never forget that initially my expectation is that each of these people might tell me that they were consciously trying to live to be older, that they were taking care of themselves by maintaining a particularly healthy diet, or that they themselves had parents that lived to be very old. That's what I expected to be hearing from these people, but that wasn't the case. But what I did hear from each one of these, there were about 12 that I interviewed, 90 and older. Each one of them, and these people were living vital lives. They were not disconnected from life. They had all of their faculties and their minds were working sharply. What each one of them said was that they had a particular passion. One lady collected antiques, and so she would make trips once or twice a week to various antique stores, and that was her passion. Another lady, 96 years old, I'll never forget her. She played the piano. She had always loved to play the piano, and that was her passion. So part of the longevity process, if that is something that you would like to focus on and develop for yourself, how to live a longer life, a more productive life, and enjoying every moment of it, would be to develop a passion of some sort and pursue it actively, something that requires your mind and your physical body to create. So beliefs and attitudes, a passion of some sort, those would be some of the components that could help you create a longer life for yourself. Now each of us, because each of us does create our own reality, no ifs, ands, or buts. Each of us, before we came into our lifetime, we already chose when we would die. But any choice can be changed. Any decision, we can make a different decision. And there are ways, again, of defusing those kinds of time bombs. And as you grow and change in your physical life and develop more of a passion for life, you'll want to live longer. Health is also part of the mix, of course, because living a long time is wonderful. However, you'd want to be healthy too. You wouldn't want to be hooked up to machines that keep you alive. Might as well be dead. Be free of your physical body and move on. So I'm talking about having a healthy old age. And again, it's about taking your power back, being responsible for your own health, taking care of yourself. And in that way, I mean caring about the kind of food that you eat. It's common knowledge in our world that there are healthier diets and there are less healthy diets. Information abounds about that. So take it upon yourself to find out what is the healthiest diet for yourself. That gives your subconscious mind the understanding that you really do care about this vehicle that you happen to be inhabiting at this particular time. Smoking. It's no surprise that smoking is not a healthy thing to do. It fills your lungs with smoke, for one thing, and you smell terrible. So it's offensive to other people. Also, beyond that, even if you were able to get to a major belief change that says, okay, I smoke, but it's not going to kill me because I don't believe smoking will kill me, to understand that this is, again, about telling your subconscious mind how much you care about yourself. So it's a slight nuance there, but what I'm getting at is to take responsibility for your own health. There is a higher truth that is this: the only person that can heal you is you. The only person who can create your life is you. And we create our lives, we create our health, either by causing it or by allowing it. We cause it by the choices and decisions we make and the actions we take. So choosing to smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol or jump out of airplanes with a parachute, bungee jump off of cliffs, some of the extreme sports that we see, risking your life in that way, that's a choice. It also is an evidence that the person who does those activities has no comprehension of the true value of their life, has no comprehension of who they are and the valuable being that they are. That's a whole other show. But this is about taking responsibility, about showing yourself, demonstrating that you are someone to be cared for and loved in that way. Now, good health, you are the only one who can heal you. You either cause your reality by, you either create your reality by causing it or allowing. The allowing part is from your beliefs and attitudes that you have. If you believe that other people have the power to heal you, then sometimes we can allow a healing in that way. The other person, the other method, the other whatever they're doing, the medicine, if we allow, or if we believe that that will heal us, we are allowing that then to work. Unfortunately, some of the medications that are commonly used have side effects that are more damaging than the actual symptoms that we're trying to have treated in that way. So again, take your power back by finding out what that doctor wants to prescribe for you. What I do on the rare occasion when I consult with a doctor, with all the respect that I have and the compassion that I have for the individual, I see that doctor as someone I'm consulting with who will give me information that I'll use my own discernment about. I'll make the decisions. And again, it's important to respect the other person, whether it's a doctor, a medical doctor, or an alternative healing practitioner, to respect where they're coming from, but understand that they also have their own belief systems, and to take the full responsibility for making your own choices based on information that you've gathered, intelligent choices. So longevity with good health, wonderful combination there. And now the third component, wisdom. There are sayings such as old age, you gain wisdom automatically. That belief, that attitude, that just by living a long time, you'll automatically be wise. That's not true. Lots of people, when they get old, they suffer the infirmities, mental infirmities of old age. Alzheimer's, we hear a lot about that, or senility, or dementia, whatever the terms are. It's a lack of mental capacity, and there's no wisdom involved in that. So wisdom, the third component of this desirable combination, wisdom comes from becoming aware of new information, helpful information, empowering information, and then gaining a knowledge of it. Reading those books, taking those classes, finding out more about the subject that can help you grow and change as a human being, can help you become more. So first we have awareness. We hear, oh yeah, there's a workshop on such and such, or there's a book about, longevity or something. And then to actually go and find out the information, gain the knowledge. So wisdom starts off with awareness and then knowledge. And then as you work with the knowledge, as you find out and use and think about and allow yourself to feel the information that you've gathered in the form of knowledge, let yourself digest it in that way, it then becomes understanding. You actually do understand, for instance, that you do create your own reality, either by causing it or by allowing it. That you actually can live as long as you want by changing your current beliefs and attitudes, by keeping yourself as healthy as you can, by finding out new ways to be healthy, by letting go of the self-destructive things that you're doing. So gaining that understanding and putting it to work, and then allowing the understanding to change your life. That's wisdom. When you live your understanding, that is wisdom. You don't have to wait until you're 40, 50, 60, 80, 105 in order to gain wisdom. You can do that at any age. Those are the four components: awareness, knowledge, understanding, and living your understanding. It takes responsibility to begin to live what makes sense to you. It takes responsibility to do the work, to heal the past, to change those beliefs, and out of that responsibility comes utmost freedom. And that freedom stimulates your spirit and soul, and that will make the adventure that life has always been meant to be, that will make it a fun and successful activity. You'll want to live to be an old person, and you will be healthy, and you will be the wise person that can have positive influence on other people, that can be an inspiration. Again, you don't have to wait to any particular age in order to gain wisdom. But the way it works for most of us, we go through our life as best we can. We make mistakes, and oftentimes, or maybe seldom, we learn from those mistakes. So gradually we grow and change. With me, the light bulb didn't go on over my head until I was about 50 years old. And then I looked back on my life and I saw repeated patterns that were leading nowhere, that were unfulfilling relationship patterns that just seemed to go on, that would go on forever, until I realized I would need to change. The one common thing, the one common thread through all of my life and all of those relationships and situations was me. And so the light bulb went on, and I realized that I would have to be the one that would change. And also, at that time, when I had that revelation, I decided that I would explore a part of my life that I had always pretty much ignored. And that was, I would find out more about my spiritual self, my spiritual nature. And so that was another part that I decided to include on this new path that I set about on. And almost immediately, the information I needed, that it would help me make those steps along this new path, that information, those books, those teachers just magically started coming to me. And that was such a life-changing situation at that age of 50. That's when I really got that I create my own reality. The first time I heard that, it was like a bell went off, and I knew it was true. And so I sought more information. How do I create my own reality? How do I heal the past and let go of the me that used to be and become a new and different person? So over that length of time, I did take that knowledge into the level of understanding. I digested it and have used that as wisely as I can to live my life. A few years ago, I wrote a book called A New Spirituality Beyond Religion that has a lot of the helpful information that helped me grow and change. And of course, growth and change is an ongoing process. That's another reason that I want to keep living as long as I can, because there's always something new to learn. There's always a different way to be. There is always more of myself to discover. And there's always healing that can be done. The more healing I do of myself, the more I open to the happier, more fun, more loving, and successful parts of myself. So it's something that each one of us can do, and I hope that in this short half an hour time you've gotten perhaps a different perspective on the topics that I focused on, the longevity issue, health, and wisdom. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for giving your attention today. The name of this show is Living Wisdom, and this is Patty Paul saying goodbye until the next time.